So I have the first screen up that says, this is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn what happened. And at the end, try to summarize as best I can, talk about some of the long-term impacts, but that's what it leads with. Here's what you're going to learn today. Hopefully they learned it. I think because it's a blend of things. There's the primary sources, then we talk about it to analyze what's going on in there. Then there's a decision where they have to apply that new idea to some problem. Then there's the actual outcome. There's some video to go with it so they can, I think, even if they argued for something else, by seeing the video and there's the next stage where they have to operate on what really did happen. I think I was talking before the idea that in the beginning I was going to make it like a choose your own adventure. But then I thought, well, they'll choose their adventure and then that's what they'll remember. So that's why I made it every time they have to make a decision, then the next stage is here's what actually happened and now decide what you think. So tried to make it more tightly to history. The setup, they have to all be able to see the video, so that's one of the reasons why it's set up like this. It's designed automatically to make teams. I didn't have teams preset because I knew there were a few kids who were going to be gone at a field trip, but I didn't have a list of who they were ahead of time, so I wasn't sure where in the room they were going to be the pukas. So that's why when they got started, then I went around and just set what the teams were. I could have said, oh, choose your own team, but it takes too much time, so I just decided. And they sit by people who they're comfortable with anyway from the start of the quarter, so I just can do it that way. Otherwise, in terms of planning, like the way the book is laid out, all of the materials in the PowerPoint, I spent a lot of time thinking about that and preparing that and making sure it was accurate and spell checked and that kind of thing. 2 years ago, I did it for the first time. There were problems with it, so then last year I revised it to make it flow better. So in terms of prepping, I would say that was the prep. Of course, it wasn't perfect the first time, so part of prep is the revise element. They've worked together a lot of times. I've set up how that works. There were a couple of students who were starting to get their phones out. So at first I see it on the desk, it's turned off. Then the screen is on doing something. There was one girl who's like starting to get the headphones going up. So in that case, I just walk over, and then the one boy who had it on his desk, I just make a motion, put it in his pocket, and he did. So, and I don't, with this group of students at least, I don't stand there and like, you must do it right now because I force you. I just make the motion and then I'll keep walking and I'll circle around and make sure he did it. The one girl, I walked over to see what was going on and she had finished a reading. She's one of our fast readers. She'd finished a reading. She's kind of bored waiting. She's like doing something on her phone. I decided I would just give it a minute, not make a fight with her, not because if I went over and talked to her, the other kids who she was waiting on would stop reading, so it defeats the purpose. So I just waited a minute. When it came time to discuss, she put it away, so it was not a problem I needed to deal with. So otherwise, discipline was not really a problem. Aside from the couple at the end who are starting to fade from being hungry and tired, they seem pretty well engaged. I think I spent some time thinking about the setup and the start and telling them they can't read ahead, which makes it a little like a game. You have to save the Earth from nuclear destruction, adds a little layer of pressure on there. I try to not let them talk for too long. Like, there's not unlimited time. Khrushchev is on the other side, also pushing. You have only 30 more seconds before you have to decide. So I kind of keep the gas pressed in that way. I think when there's a pressure to solve a problem, then they tend to be a little bit more engaged. I'll walk around, and if seems like there's like one person dominating the group, like there was a group over here, and I said, oh, what do you think? And he said, I think. And I said, wait, you think or we think? To try to make sure everyone else was connected, was having some ownership of it instead of just like, oh, well, he has an idea, so we'll go with that. So in that case, and then if somebody seems to be checking out, they'll say, oh, do you agree? Try to keep everybody involved. Hopefully it helped them understand sort of the longer term stages of what we're studying. I did the thing at the end with the election now and who would you trust. I did a question I actually had a few more minutes than I thought I was going to at the end. So I did the grade because they're used to grade. So I thought, okay, well, it's a chance for them to evaluate his performance in a way that they could understand. So I mentioned, I think it would be nice to have them be able to get up, do something. The idea, because right now when they talk amongst their group of 4 and then they put their ideas on paper. And that written version of their ideas, if they don't show it to the person next to them, or if it's not reflective of their commentary, then there's no sharing of that. So at this point, I usually have them keep the packets with the rest of their notes and so on so that they can refer to it later on. But it would be interesting for me to collect it and give them feedback on their thoughts, which if I had unlimited time might work. The other thing would be to have it some other method where they could see everybody else's commentary, either as we go. So, perhaps someday when there's iPads per student or something, and then the whole packet will be on the iPad and they can flip through, and then there'll be a press here to add your links and everyone can see what everyone else is saying. That might be kind of fun. I'm hesitant at this point to inject too much technology into it because just like me, they would be distracted by it and they'd start doing other stuff. With having only paper and pencil in front of them, that's all they can really think about. So for this lesson at least, right now I've kept all the technology out of it. Maybe someday.